Hello and welcome to the 11th Tinto feedback post, which is just proof that your feedback is listened to and implemented in the game if it is, well researched and well put together and correct. And your feedback gets put into the game. And this is just the latest installment of that. We are looking at Germany and the changes that have come between now and when the German Tinto maps was originally put out there, which was, you know what, maybe I should have looked that up. The original Germany was put out in July, 5 days after my birthday. Cool. So, yeah, we got Germany to look at today and the changes. So let us get in and look at the spoilers of changes. Hello, welcome to another Tinto Maps feedback post. Today we'll be looking at the review of Germany, or to be more precise, the remaining lands of the HRE that were not covered in previous updates. Let's look at the list of changes. So, we have 46 extra locations, 5 lakes, and several wastelands. Let's see, do I recognize any of these? Gotha, I'm pretty sure that's a pretty important one for British history. Where we got Oppenheimer, nice. Let's go. Some lakes there, some wastelands. 52 extra tags seems a bit wild. 52 new tags is crazy to add to the game. Especially you've added only 46 new locations, but 52 new tags. Nice. And also a bunch of new characters have been added, including the Bishopric of Brandenburg. But yeah, that is seeming like a heck of a lot. Very, very cool. Also, dynamic names added for Czech, German, Lower, Central, and Upper German, Polabian, Rhaetian, Friulian, Latin, Romansh, and Sorbian dynamic names. Awesome. And a bunch of names got renamed. So these are only corrections. Additionally, renamed all location to standardized form. I'm in two minds about this. I think it is good to have a version of the game that is standardized to English. So instead of it being, you're forming your tag Germany, and instead of it being called Deutschland, it'd be called Germany. That's fine. But I would also very much like it if there was a setting where you could have, as insofar as it's possible, especially like keeping it with Latinized characters, having localized names based on the culture that it's coming from. So, Deutschland. A really good way of seeing that is in the market screen, and now I'm skipping way ahead. This is the new market screen. We've got Cologne and Prague. But what it used to be is this, Köln and Praha. I prefer this naming scheme, and I think I would prefer playing it with, Cologne being called Köln. And I don't know, that's maybe just a... it's a preference thing. It's a preference thing. But yeah, a bunch of these got renamed to, Lüdinghausen to Domen. I mean, this is boring compared to Lüdinghausen. But that is, I would actually like to know, what would you prefer? Because this is the same kind of thing that gets brought up and argued a lot when the naming convention for Byzantium comes in, and I argue that it should be named something like Basiliaton Romaean, because that is just Empire of the Romans in the language Romaica that they spoke. That's what I would prefer, and I guess this is the same kind of vibe. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Would be interesting. They have removed some tags though. Donauwörth is gone. Wangen is gone. Sorry, Minden is gone. But we got 54 new ones, so who knows. Alright, raw goods also got changed. Terrain and vegetation also got a total review, and the locations got redrawn. So, maps. Let's have a look at the countries, and we can compare it to the old version. I think the biggest change that's going to stand out is Bohemia got renamed to Kingdom of Bohemia, and all of the vassals are being... the name spreads over them, which is something that people asked for, and I believe that is a setting that you can turn on and off. If you want that to be the case. This is something that I think I think Victoria 2 does the best when it comes to your name over another, your vassals. But I would argue this does it really well as well, because these colors are not just perfectly the Kingdom of Bohemia's colors. It is, you're spreading your name over, and you can very easily tell that these are yours. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of what this looks like. Yeah, going back to the old one, instead of having Uels and Apol and Rakibors and all of these that are, some of them kind of impossible to read because it only goes 3 letters and then a full stop. Now you don't need to worry about it because Kingdom of Bohemia is just spread out over it. Other than that, changes. Munster got a land border to the rest of Munster. Hesse got broken up. No, that was already broken up. Upper Bavaria got a bit more land from Lower Bavaria, and I think Austria's borders changed somewhat as well. They've got a land connection. They got like a location from Chile. But on that, it's it looking good in my opinion. Moving down, we can see it with wastelands colored in as well. Mostly that's affecting like a single wasteland in the Alps. And then moving on as well, showing a little bit more of northern Italy, because it's it's the HRE. It's not just Germany. You can see Naples' new color as well, which I quite like that color. Very nice. The HRE IO has a lot of changes. Let's just see. This is the new HRE IO map mode, because this works, right? You can very easily see what is what. We have I forget what all the colors mean, but it's just looking so much easier to parse. Upper Bavaria in yellow. I don't remember what would that even entail. What is the yellow? Prince Elector and Archbishopric Elector. We got Imperial Peasant Republic, Free Imperial Cities, Imperial Prelate, and Imperial Prince. Why is it Bavaria? They weren't the Emperor, were they? Who was the Emperor? I thought it was Luxembourg, but maybe I am wrong. No, it wasn't Luxembourg. Who was it? Who was the Emperor this time? But anyway, this is the new version. The old version was just a little bit hard to read. Maybe it is Upper Bavaria that is the Emperor. Upper Bavaria, the Emperor, and then we got the light blue is Electors. We got the Frisian Freedom there as the, what did they call them again? Imperial Peasant Republics. We got the Free Imperial Cities in green. We've got the bloody Archbishopric Electors and Imperial Prelates. It's looking so much better than it used to. I think because having the stripes over it made it a little bit hard to parse, especially for the tiny locations. But this is looking way easier to read. Love it. Perfect. Big fan of what we're seeing there. And also we have the total number of members. This is the most amount of flags that we've seen in the game. We're just seeing them all at the same time, which is kind of wild. Let's open it up into a new tab and zoom in just a wee bit. Yeah. Here's a challenge for you. Go and name them all. I'm not going to even try. But I see some flags that I recognize. 2 English lions. This is the same as the 3 lions for England, like the same lion design. I don't know if that is some kind of connection there. I'm pretty sure these are the Silesian, these are the Silesian eagles, I believe, although that eagle makes a common reoccurrence, so maybe it's just a German eagle. I'm pretty sure this one here is Mecklenburg. I remember that the cow or the bull being a thing for them. But yeah, very cool. Loving that. There's Bohemia. Bavaria, of course. Corsica, or is it Sardinia? Is this one here? What else do I recognize? I'm not going to go through them all. I'm sorry. I just got caught up. All right, moving on. Not all the countries appear in this box. You have to scroll a bit in game to be able to see the remaining ones. Of course, naturally. How many we got here anyway? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Nice. This is going to make math super easy. By 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 13 by 21. I'm not doing maths on camera. It's 273 right now that were shown. That's not all of them, though. It's crazy. Anyway, we've got locations, and the biggest thing you can tell here with location changes is mostly the graphics used to show the locations. It's a bit different, and I would argue a little bit easier to parse as well. Also, it looks like Bohemia got a huge update for this one. They have way more provinces, or locations, I should say. Very cool indeed. And then we got the zoomed-in map. I'm not going to show the zoomed-in map for every of the old ones as well. Just bear in mind that more have been added. It's very nice. Very likely that it is going to be an interesting place to play in. Here is Bohemia again, and for anyone who has been playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, or just in general Kingdom Come Deliverance, obviously we have some of the places in the game are, well, I mean, all the places in the game are based on real places. So we got Trotsky in the north. I think it's in like Turnov area. That's where you start the game, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Where you start the game of Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 is Skalitz, which is, I think, like around here in Kautrim, or Kaurim. And then Kuttenberg, I think, is Kuttenhora, if I remember correctly. So you're in like 3 different areas here. But yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool. I love it. Moving on to the Alps here, and you can see the mountain images poking through. Very cute, very lovely. And more of the Alps again. But onto the provinces map mode. Right, I do have the looks of these, the comparison. So here's the provinces map mode, and then the old provinces map mode. I'd argue much easier to parse again. I suppose it's probably zoomed in at the same level. It's kind of hard to see where it's going differently, but, you know. West Mecklenburg has been split up here, or merged, sorry, from Gaupalabi and Stralsund. So that's cool, I guess. Let me just zoom this one out a bit. There we go. But yeah, there's quite a lot of differences, and some of these look like they've been merged quite a bit, right? It's not just a case of splitting, but there's a lot of merging going on as well. But yeah, more provinces in the south as well. One of our German content designers has reworked the provinces. We tried to get a balance between those that could directly translate to English, such as the different provinces of Styria, and those that couldn't be translated easily. So for a native German speaker, some will sound a bit weird, but we tried to be consistent with how we manage it in general. I mean, here, like, Gauboden, that's not something that is directly in English. English doesn't have accents on letters, so I guess unless you're, like, the accent over the E when you've got a word in French, like cafe or whatever. But either way, it doesn't have them. So having just a single province... Sorry, locate. Yeah, this is provinces. Having a single province that has these, or Mulviertel. Yeah, whatever. These stand out. Whereas if you have all of them in these kind of localizations, I don't think that's a problem. As long as we're sticking with Latinized characters, and that means, you know, English with accents is still Latinized characters. I don't see a problem with that. I just don't. I don't want to be seeing like Cyrillic or frickin' with the other characters, Urdu and the Indian languages. Like I don't think it is right to have the game having localization where, you know, Chinese script is there in the game if you play it in the game in English, but I do think having them be Latinized versions of their original languages is just better for the game in general. And yeah, I don't think just like, oh, well, the English called this Mittelmark instead of whatever it is in, German. So therefore, that's what it's gonna be. Like, I don't know. I hope that is a in-game option, a setting that I can choose, or I'm sure there'll be a mod that will change that for me. I'm sure that'll be a thing. Areas now, and these are just basically groupings of provinces. So here is the new one versus the old version, and again, just so much easier to read everything, which I think is a very important thing. Upper Saxony got merged from Thuringia Saxon and Saxon-Anhalt, which I guess, you know what, if that makes sense, if that doesn't change the gameplay too much, then yeah, of course that makes sense. Bohemia just the one that's looking the most united, so good for them, I guess. Silesia, Moravia there as well, loving that. And then onto the terrain. This one did not really change, like, at all, really. So I didn't do a comparison there. But I did do a comparison for the topography. So we'll have a look here at the new version versus the old version. And other than, again, things being a little bit easier to read, maybe not so much over here with the tiny text for hills and stuff, but also hills got a color change to like a light brown rather than the light colored blue gray ish. Wetlands got a little bit of a color change as well, and I think these new color changes are better. I do think that is an improvement. Moving on as well, we have the vegetations, and I do have a comparison here as well for you. So this is the new vegetation versus the old vegetation, and I think there's a lot of differences. There is so much less forest. Like, this is the new, this is the old. There was forest going the whole way. You could trace a forest from Vienna to bloody Berlin and into bloody Hungary. Like, it's not so anymore. There's been a lot of deforestation going on in cities. So yeah, whether that is better or not for gameplay, we'll have absolutely no idea until we actually play the game. But there's also been some farmlands dotted around that weren't there previously. So these light green colors are the old farmlands, and then new farmlands been up here. Grasslands, like northern Germany, got essentially a big upgrade. If grasslands are better for your country, then it got a huge upgrade. Development wise, it's going to be, maybe a lot easier to play. But yeah, moving on, we have development, and this is not a map mode that was available in the previous Tinto talk on Germany, so I can't do a comparison for you. But it is good to see the development of the various places in Germany. So we've got something like Lübeck standing out. We've got Köln standing out. Frankenfurt, maybe? Frankfurt? Not Frankenfurt, Jesus Christ. Mainz, no idea. Obviously Prague there, Magdeburg there. Are the places that stand out? No idea. But very much like seeing this map mode. It is pretty cool. Of course, development, nothing like EU4's development, so don't get that mixed up. If you have played Imperator Rome, and if you haven't, you should, because it's a great game. This is more akin to the civilization value. It's what determines the maximum population kind of way. It is essentially just a determinant of how developed a province is, and it's not something I can click button to raise directly. So, much better system. But yeah, no, it's cool seeing this map mode. I think this is a gorgeous map mode. Love that. But anyway, moving on. No harbours yet, so we're going to be seeing a natural harbours of Europe at some point, so I'll be doing a post on that. Harbours, I do know that they have asked for feedback on quite a bit. Every time a harbours map is posted, they're like, okay, we want your feedback. Tell us about these places that you know better. And it's obviously not a thing of this place in real life has a really good harbor, therefore it needs to have a really good harbor modifier in game, because this is more about the actual location, the how good it is of a natural harbor rather than how brute forced the country has, developed a harbor there. So something like Carthage, for example, Tunis, not a very good natural harbor, but it was brute forced into being a very good harbor. So it wouldn't be there. So anyway, on to cultures. And yeah, the stripes everywhere. Stripes absolutely everywhere. This is the new culture map mode versus the old one. And honestly, there's not a whole lot of changes. The Silesian Germans got murked, I guess. Moravian got a color change. But otherwise, I don't see too many changes. So this is old, and this is new. If there's anything really stand out, let me know, but I can't really put my finger on anything stand out here. But anyway, looks good still. German culture area is kind of crazy. Some adjustments to the cultures, but not big changes. Makes sense. Languages now, and remember, again, language and especially when you're looking at the Netherlands, language and what we call a language are different. In-game, what we call a language would be called a dialect, and it only affects basically the flavor names of your characters and such like that. So Czech Slovak is interesting. I mean, that country, Czechoslovakia, did split up into Czechia and Slovakia, so it's interesting to see them back together again in language form. But again, Netherlands and Germany, different things. Maybe it'll be changed in the in the dialect, which it has been. Czech and Slovak are separate here. Dutch is separate from Low, Middle, and High German. So that is, essentially what we were talking about there. Lechian, I think that's called, or Lechitic, I should say, is split into Polish, Silesian, Sorbian, Kashubian, all of that. And then you've got the various Italian ones in the south, from Gallo-Italic into Gallo-Italic, Venetian, and Rhaetian. So yeah, I don't have very much to say about that one. I know there's a lot of people that were complaining about Dutch being in the German group and German being split like this and all that kind of thing. I really can't say. But yeah, here we have the court languages as well. Basically, if you are a bishopric of some kind, then Latin is your court language. If not, it's German. Makes sense to me. Very cool. Seeing all that Latin court language in there. First map is the dominant language. Second is the dialects, which I remind you is primarily used for flavor and close to the language linguistical definition. And the third is the court language. On to religion, and I don't have a comparison for you here because it's the bloody same, other than like 2 stripes here because some Waldensians were added to Austria. Cool. But otherwise, it's just pure Catholic. Makes sense. Raw materials now, and there is a bunch of changes, lots of changes, but they're always so hard to parse. So here is the new version. Here is the old version. What do we see that's different? Probably lots. Gems got a new color. I like that. It stands out more than the white. Gems, silver, and marble were a little bit too difficult to tell apart. Now we got gems being that teal blue kind of color. So big fan of that. If we zoom them both in, maybe we'll be able to see them a little bit easier. But essentially, changes. Love us some changes. Roughly the same kind of area. But yeah, if you can point out some essential changes, then great. I think lumber got split up a lot in the central Germany area. So again, old, see these big blobs of lumber, and now that's not the case. So that's awesome. Found my medicaments, and there's a lot of medicaments. I think this is the densest amount of medicaments that I've seen so far. So that's cool. Onto the markets, and we've seen this one already because I showed it at the start of the video. I think the biggest takeaway from this markets is the fact that it doesn't look like ass anymore. The map has changed. We don't no longer have that like stained glass kind of effect around every single location. And we have once again got a gorgeous map that actually is easy to read, and you can see the lighter color spreading to the darker color where the market access is less. Fantastic. I think this looks phenomenal. This is, of course, the new version, and then the old version, which was... It's harder to read because the darker lines around the countries, but this was before the bad change. But essentially, the changes... Köln didn't reach the coast. Now it does. Only barely, but it still reaches the coast a bit. Venice has lost a bit of ground inland. But essentially this is all determined by like mechanical factors. So it is going to be constantly changing until release. Like maybe next time there is an update, this area here suddenly gets a little bit better access to Prague than it does to Cologne, so this swaps over, or stuff here changes as well. It's interesting to see exclaves, but that could literally be these two locations, whoever it is embargoing Venice, so it is more akin to, you know, going to Prague instead. Same thing could be true of these Silesian miners. I know a couple of the Silesian miners are... No, I don't... I was thinking it might have been these guys, but I don't actually think that is the case. Maybe it is, I don't know. But, you know, these kind of things can change pretty readily. So, yeah, anyway, that's all the maps that we have. Friday, we're going to be having a look at another German country, at Bavaria. So, lovely. They haven't changed the market centers. You may notice some difference with Tinto maps post, which depends on the constant balancing they keep doing to the feature. So, looking forward to... more updates to Tinto maps in the future. Very much enjoying these posts, and I hope you guys are enjoying me going over them. If you do, hit the subscribe button, because I'm not going to stop. You can't stop me. I'm going to keep doing it. And of course, we got on Wednesday a Tinto talk, which I've completely forgotten what we're looking at, so I'm going to go and check. What do we have on Wednesday? Damn my memory. Subject types. Lovely. Got to look forward to subject types and an interesting part of the Castilian player fantasy. Okay, I don't remember this being in the dev diary. I think I would have remembered this part especially. But yeah, we got on Wednesday, subject types dev diary. And then on Friday, Bavaria. So stick around for that. Subscribe, hit the bell, do all that YouTube gubbins. And I will see you in a couple of days' time. Toodaloo. Bye-bye. Oh, actually, I should say, Auf Wiedersehen. Nice. Bye-bye.